Hello, witches and magical beings. Welcome back to Witches of the Moon, Season 13, and we are currently in Week 5. Our topic for this week is the importance of a grimoire or a book of shadows. As a new witch, the book of shadows was something that I kind of had to create. I've kind of created on the fly, so to speak. You know, you kind of picture having that big beautiful book like you would see in Practical Magic that the aunts brought out, that big magical book. But reality is most of us don't have that, or certainly not when we start our path, unless it's been gifted to us and passed down from a family member or something like that. So you have to kind of create your own if that's something that you want. I do recommend a grimoire or a book of shadows. Now, some people, for some people, those are two different types of books. And for me, personally, in a way, they are different for me. The book of shadows is more of my spell work and magical recipes, that have a very specific purpose, if you will. They kind of cross over a little bit, but my grimoire is more of my, I would say it's more of my journaling, okay? Like I have my recipe books and my, my grimoires. Okay, this is the best way I can explain it. My grimoires are more of my journaling, okay? It's kind of my, like I have a grimoire or a book that I journal my dreams in when I, like a dream journal. I have one that I keep my recipes in. I have one that I keep my incantations in. And in my grimoire, in my book of shadows, I plan to combine all of those into one book. Right now, my book of shadows is basically just a binder. This is my book of shadows. It's got some correspondences in it. It's got some herbs in it. It's got some spell work in it. It's got different things that I've been able to pick up, basically either online or through my studies, if you will, that kind of thing. But it's basically just kind of tabbed off in tabs right now. But I'm protecting these pages that are in it because I plan to get a more formal grimoire, or a book of shadows, I'm sorry, a more formal book of shadows. I want my book of shadows to be, I have an idea in my head of what I want, and yes, it does tend to look a lot like the one that you would see in Practical Magic, but more towards me. It's going to look more like a book of shadows. It's going to have, of course, emblems and things on it that mean something to me, but it would be something that hopefully at some point I'll be able to pass it down to either one of my kids or leave it for one of my grandchildren or something of that nature. I'm hoping that at some point someone will find some value in it and keep my practices or find value in them, because I do a lot of herbal remedies and things like that. So I'm hoping it will be of value, because it won't just have, of course, spell work in it. It's going to have herbs and cuttings, that I press for that, different things in it, along with my spell work. Something that I did pick up that I really liked was I got, there we go, an old music stand. I picked this up actually at Goodwill. I work for Goodwill, so it was kind of neat. But I like it because it does keep my book of shadows on it. So when I'm doing ritual or something like that, I have my book of shadows that I can open up and keep it, and of course I'll display it in my sacred room on the stand. So I plan on getting another one for my shop, but I'll keep a smaller Book of Shadows there with more specific things for other people, where I don't mind so much if someone looks at it. My true Book of Shadows would be more personal and protected. So, but as far as a grimoire is concerned, for me, grimoires are like my kind of my journaling books. So I have ones with my recipes in it for my lotions and potions and oils, if you will. I've got, this was my very first grimoire, Book of Shadows, and it's got my spell work in it, some of my early spells and things like that in it. So I do keep this one. It is, you know, it's got, I'm going to turn it to some back pages where it's, because I don't care to show my other stuff, but it's pretty cool because it was kind of laid out where you could talk about what the spell was for, how you cast the spell, so you could lay that out, the secrets to success. It's got a little area for that, and then history of when I use the spell. So all of that, I'll kind of hold this up so you can kind of see it. Ooh, ooh, ooh. There we go. Okay, hopefully that's centered up. I can't really see, but because it's like right in front of my face. But this will kind of, this you can get, you know, fairly easily. I got this, I believe I got it online, but I thought it was actually going to be bigger. But, you know, it served its purpose at the beginning, and I still put some stuff in it, but basically it's for spells, so it was kind of cool that way. I will, of course, transfer my spells into my Book of Shadows once I get my Book of Shadows. I actually have a journal that I keep, a grimoire, that is a binder that my sister, a small binder book that my sister gave me, that I keep all my notes of my shadow work in. Now that one does not come out in the daylight. I don't bring that out in regular lighting. I only bring that out in candlelight, and I use that strictly for my shadow work. But that one I got, my sister gave me the book to write in, and that's what I've chosen to use that one for. So again, that is a type of grimoire that I keep, is my shadow work grimoire. Then I have my, I call it my lotions, potions, and oils, brews, different things like that, my medicinal brews, my skincare products that I make, all of that, because I, of course, incorporate magical properties into everything that I make now. And so I have that book, and then I have my herbal book, my herbal grimoire, that I keep notes on different herbs, how I grow them, their medicinal and magical properties, all of that. So I keep all of that in that grimoire. I have this one that I haven't decided exactly what I'm going to put in it yet, but I keep this one. This one I think is going to be one that kind of travels with me. That'll be kind of an on-the-spot note-taking and journaling type of thing. But it's this one's new, so it doesn't have anything in it yet, but I love the paper that's in it. And I got this from one of the vendors that comes out to our market where I have my shop, and they have a bunch of, you know, a variety of different paper journals that they had, and this one kind of spoke to me, so I grabbed it. But as far as a Book of Shadows or grimoire and the importance of it, I think they're important because, one, it carries on those traditions. It carries on, it's kind of my recipe book. So when I'm doing spell work or ritual or making a recipe, I can turn to that book and have my recipe basically right there, whether it's my recipe for my spell or whether it's my my recipe or my steps for my rituals or that kind of thing. Because let's face it, I mean, it's we get busy or whatever, and that way we've kind of got those things documented. And again, at one point, I hope that my kids will want it, or my grandkids may want it. So to pass on those traditions and that magic, I want to kind of pass on the magic to my kids. Plus, they can be invaluable later on. I mean, look at, in Egyptian cultures, the Book of the Dead, that was basically a book of shadows or a grimoire. It's a book of spells. So grimoires, books of shadows, whatever you want to call them, they called it the Book of the Dead and the Book of the Living. Those are important books that carry the legacy and the information on the magic. So I think they're important nowadays with technology. Some people keep theirs on their computer. They put it on a hard drive. They put it on a stick or keep it on their computer. So there's a variety of ways you can keep a grimoire or book of shadows. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a book per se, but me personally, I'm old-fashioned. I like having that book to hold on to look through. I like having the pages. I've got an inkwell and a quill that I would write my spell work down with. So that I do like. I like that old world feeling for old magic. So that's my take on grimoires and books of shadows and their importance. I hope this was helpful, and look forward to our next topic. So stay safe and stay magical. Talk to you later.